I'm on a quest to find the greatest game of all time. Playing the greatest game of all time is not only my dream, but the dream of every single gamer, dating back to the day we all picked up our first controller. But for me, growing up, there were a few popular game franchises that I never got to play because...
Get fucked, you cum stain!
They weren't for kids. Now that I'm all grown up and this game popped up as a free game for PlayStation Plus users like myself, I finally got to play my very first Yakuza game. I had no expectations for this game. Although it was a popular franchise, it never once came up in any of my gaming discussions, so this game just never showed up on my radar, and that is terrifying. What if the greatest game of all time is obscure? What if only a few people have played it? What if I never get a chance to play it? I have 30 subscribers and not a single one of you has commented on what your favorite game is. Therefore, I am giving you an ultimatum. Comment your favorite game below and tell me if you think it is the greatest game of all time, or unsubscribe to my channel now, because I want true gamers to subscribe. Now, what do I think about Yakuza Like a Dragon? Well, it has a good story. Also, it has a good story, as well as simple turn-based combat, and a really good story. If you like watching cutscenes and really just want to take a break from a good movie with some gameplay, then Yakuza is certainly the game for you. Because unless you're skipping out on said cutscenes and missing out on a legitimately compelling story with relatable characters, you're not going to see tons of combat and gameplay. At least I didn't as I started into the game. After 3 hours of gameplay, I got partway through the third chapter as the world was finally starting to become clearer to me, and it seemed I would actually be able to explore it more. Once I started exploring the world a bit more, I got to see how much the world had to offer, such as homework that made me feel like I was a man in a school anime getting his GED. I also ran across a man getting mugged for baby formula, which was already pretty weird. When we heard a baby crying, we naturally assumed it was due to a childbirth because really, there could be no other explanation for a baby crying. The young father had me go get hot water, which I promptly did without getting sidetracked at all. As soon as we went in to help deliver this baby, things got weird and weirder.
Get these two some new baby formula.
And weirder until finally...
Boys, get this man a diaper.
Yes, sir.
After that unique experience, I decided to take on the main quest, which had a very serious storyline where the Yakuza were killing the elderly in their own nursing home and scamming the insurance agencies by taking their pensions. Now, this has nothing to do with video games, but I actually studied insurance and was even at one time licensed to sell it. I still get junk mail from insurance companies looking to hire to this day, and this scheme is scary because it could theoretically work in the real world. The Yakuza's plan worked like this. Step 1, isolation. The patients in this plan were allowed almost no contact with their families, which made their abuse and the following steps easier to carry out in secret. Step 2, extortion. This is probably the least likely step to get used in the real world because discovery would be far more likely. In the game, this is irrelevant as the cops are paid off and therefore not a factor at all. But basically, the family is just told that they are not allowed to see their family until all of the overpriced upfront costs are paid. Step 3, euthanization. In this game, the patients are brought to the super secret upstairs where no patient returns from alive, where they are given anesthesia and a lethal injection of potassium chloride which stops the heart. The body is then disposed of with acid provided by the Yakuza. Step 4, profit. The The Yakuza then hide the fact that the patient is already dead and continue to keep the family from getting anywhere near. Meanwhile, the nursing home gets their pension and insurance premiums because they think that they are still alive. We figured all of this out and saved the day with our fist as usual. Ignore the oddly shaped bat. Obviously, this medical massaging device with no sexual implications dealt more damage than a bat with barbed wire wrapped around it. This makes complete and irrefutable logical sense, and anyone saying otherwise is wrong. However, there were some RPG mechanics that seemed rather out of place with the story this game was telling. You see, there is a mechanic where your decisions boost your personality stats, taking character development literally. Now on paper, this is really cool, but in practice, it causes weird scenes where this otherwise brash and reckless character who is willing to break into an important meeting with all of the top criminals in the underworld, this character finds himself unable to talk his way past a thug because his confidence stat is too low. He even wishes to himself that he would be more assertive, which is just jarring when I compare it to literally any other moment in the story. This game has left an impression on me, and I do want to explore it more. After playing for 10 hours, I have nearly completed the first third of the game and finally unlocked my final party member. So for now, this game stands at an 8 out of 10, but that number can go up or down after I complete the game. Yakuza Like a Dragon brings RPG to a real-world setting and makes the entire experience relatable, making it a great option for gamers who have leveled up at life. If you got to the end of the video and you still haven't left a comment on what your favorite game is, what are you doing? I don't want your likes, I don't want you to subscribe, okay, maybe a little, but I demand that you leave a comment. What is the greatest game of all time? I must know the answer.